This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Welcome to the Jack Murphy Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Murphy. Kind of a special day, kind of a big deal today. This is I know it's hard to believe, episode number 100 of the Jack Murphy Podcast. If you've been with us from the beginning, we appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, today is your day to do so. Just go to YouTube. You can open an account for free, subscribe, like the video, or on Spotify, Rumble. We're also on Apple, iHeart, and a bunch of other audio-only podcast sites. But today, episode 100, John Garrett, he couldn't be here today. He'll be back tomorrow. Alpha is filming today in Atlanta, so he couldn't. So you're stuck with just me today. Now, often on the podcast, we try to talk about staying healthy, keeping healthy, talk about exercise and diet and things like that. And I know from looking at us, it doesn't look like we're actually concerned with those things, but we actually are. So when I saw this article this morning, it really caught my eye and I wanted to share it with you. Apparently, according to a new medical study, weightlifting beats cardio for blood sugar control. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but cardio is, it's my least favorite thing to do. Luckily for me, I had a knee injury some years ago, so I really can't do any strenuous cardio. I do a lot of walking. So it takes a lot longer, but I don't know, I enjoy it now. And it doesn't put as much stress on my feet and my knees, my hips, etc. But when I read this, it was exciting because I do both. And then I got to the second part of the article, and it really became too much to believe. It says here, mice that lifted weights. Give me a picture or a video of that, of the little mice lifting weights. That's what it says. Mice that lifted weights showed better blood sugar control than mice that ran on wheels, despite not building extra muscle or improving cardiovascular fitness. I can just see the little mice in their little hammock bathing suit going out and flexing in their little arms after they lift the weights. Weightlifting more effectively reduced dangerous visceral fat around organs, while running increased calorie-burning brown fat. The metabolic benefits happen through changes inside muscle cells rather than muscle growth. Anyway, so the bottom line is weightlifting helps control blood sugar, which, of course, is diabetes. But only in mice. I don't know if it's in humans or not. Because a lot of times you'll see these studies where they'll go, shocking medical news. Scientists have been able to cure cancer in mice. And it never seems to cross over to humans. Yeah, it worked in the mouse, but when they tried it on the humans, nothing. Because we're not mice, we're humans. We're a lot more complex. But anyway, conventional wisdom is cardio is king for fighting obesity and diabetes, but now weightlifting can help as well. Well, again, I think you need to do a little of both. I think you need to watch what you eat, do some cardio, and lift some weights. Do all three, a combination of the three, and you're going to be better off. Here's another tip for you. Don't go parasailing in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Out here in the clouds, this is unreal. The rain is coming down sideways, but the lift is... lightning, it hit me. Oh, my shoulder's burning. The lines are fried. I can't steer. I'm just hanging.
You think that's real? I mean, would he be alive if he was parasailing and lightning hit him up in the sky? Wouldn't he be dead? Wouldn't it have caught the parachute on fire? I think it would have. By the way, I don't know if you saw this or not, but I'm sure you did. It's been on every news channel and everywhere else, all over the internet. That UPS plane that crashed in Kentucky They say now that the left engine fell off on the runway before they ever got off the ground. Now, I thought, maybe I'm wrong, this is probably an older plane, but I thought those planes could fly on one engine. That's what they always tell you. Don't worry, if one engine goes out, the plane is capable of flying on one engine. Not that UPS plane. So I don't know how many people were on the plane, but apparently it killed a bunch of people on the ground too. I think 14 people dead as a result of that UPS crash. Terrible. They have all these trends on social media, and a lot of them are really fun. I remember a few years ago when everybody was dumping ice water on their head and taping it on their phone and putting it on Facebook, and they were making a donation to ALS to fight ALS disease. But there's all sorts of different trends that they do. But there's one going around right now. I don't understand it. And if you're a woman in this group, I would think seriously before I did this, because I don't think it's a good look. Basically, I think I have, hold on. Yeah, I do. Check this out. So they post a picture like this, and it'll say, I'm 62 today, no husband, no children, no friends, but I baked a cake. And I thought, what are we supposed to think from that? You couldn't get a husband. You're so hard to get along with. You couldn't get a man. So as a result, you didn't have any children. And now you're 62 and you don't have any friends. So on your birthday, you had to bake your own cake because you're so hard to get along with. That's what I hear when I see that. But I just see it over and over and over, all over social media. I don't understand the purpose, and I don't think it makes you look good. I mean, what are they going? Like, you can see a lot of times what I guess they call it clickbait, where you'll see a picture of an attractive woman, and it'll say, my husband dumped me. If you don't hate me, say hi to me, or something like that. They're just trying to get you to click on it so they can get clicks or likes. But this one, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Can somebody explain it to me? So yesterday afternoon, she always does it last minute. My daughter asked me if I can take her to a concert and drop her off because her husband is still at work, and then he's going to pick her up later on in the evening. And of course, because we're saving daylight, it's dark at 5:20, and I hate to drive at night because I have funky stuff going on with my eyes now. But anyway, I say, yeah, I will. So I have to go to downtown Charlotte last night. And we get about half. I thought she was going to see Wicked, which I'm against. But that's a whole different story. But about halfway there, my daughter tells me she's going to see the Jonas Brothers. Now, are they still a band? Are they still around? Oh, yeah, they almost had a hit about 2 years ago. Okay. But anyway, we get down there. It's terrible. There's traffic all the way. And downtown Charlotte, there's pedestrians everywhere. And the lights are glaring. And because of my laser surgery, I see these streaks going. Anyway, it was a nightmare. But there was a huge crowd going to see the Jonas Brothers. Who knew? I didn't even know they were still together, much less touring, but apparently they're still a big thing. They played at the Spectrum Center where the Hornets play last night.
Hello, everyone.
Back in the day, in the broadcast industry, there used to be a thing called payola. Most of you probably haven't heard of it. You don't know what it is, but basically, record companies would have a whole bunch of artists. Like I remember, let's say back about 1980, I would get a package on Monday morning from Columbia Records, and it would have maybe 15 single records in it. And these were all the new singles that Columbia was going to release that week. And I would listen to them, and say, oh, I like that one. These are terrible. I don't like that. I hate that. Like that. Don't like that. But anyway, you would get a package like that from every record company. So on Monday or the Friday before the month, by the time Music Day got there, which is usually Tuesday, that's when you were going to pick the new songs you were going to play, you had 50 to 100 singles to consider. But what would happen is the phone would start ringing on Monday, and it would be like if the package came from Columbia Records, it would be your local Columbia Records rep, your friendly local Columbia Records rep. And he would go, hey, did you get the package? And you go, yeah. You got 2 or 3 things in there. Well, what I really want you to listen to. So these were his priorities that he was pushing. So he would have a 1, 2, 3. So he was trying to get you to add certain records. And he had, number 1, he'd really be pushing it. Like maybe it was Michael Jackson, and then it was it doesn't matter. But then you had what were called independent record promoters. Independent record promoters. And these guys worked for all the record companies. So and they basically owned program directors all over the country. So in other words, they could go to the record company and they could say, hey, you want that new song from whoever the artist happened, you want that new Earth, Wind, and Fire song played? You're going to have to pay me $25,000. It may be even more than that. I don't know. And the record company will go, well, okay, where can you get it on? He can go, well, I can get it on in the top 10 markets. I'll get it added this week. And they go, okay, we'll do that. They give him $25,000. He calls up his program directors, and they all add the song. Now, he is taking care of them. He'd come into town and take them out to dinner, give them whatever kind of drugs they wanted, buy them booze, hookers, who knows. Whatever they wanted, he would do. And that way, they controlled the music that got played. Now, the problem is that's against federal law. It's called payola. And there was a big payola scam back in, I think it was the late 50s, early 60s, where the record companies were directly paying the DJs to play records. And I think some people went to prison over that. But the way they got around it was by hiring these independents. So the record company would say, well, I didn't know he was doing that. We just hired an independent promoter to help get our artist on the airwaves. We didn't know anything about that. And these independent promoters, man, I'm going to tell you, there was about a 20, 25-year period during my career where they just pretty much did whatever they wanted, and they didn't get caught at all. And then there was a reporter from NBC who connected one of these independent record promoters to a mobster and put it on the news, and that was pretty much the end of that. Then all the radio companies stopped dealing with these independent record promoters. But guess what? Whatever goes around comes around. Whatever has been will be again. So now everybody gets their music where? Streaming. Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, all these different streaming services. Well, now there is basically open payola going on Spotify and some of these other streaming services. So if you notice that Spotify will only recommend to you major artists and not something new or cool or indie. Now there is a class action lawsuit that's been filed against Spotify accusing them of a pay-for-play scheme. And we'll see what happens with that, but they're not a broadcasting outlet. They're not the public airways. They're on the internet. So I don't know I don't know if they're doing that. I don't know if that's against the law or it's wrong or whatever. We'll have to wait and see. But it's not the first time it's happened. I can tell you that.
When your wife says, correct me if I'm wrong, do not, under any circumstances, correct her.
Well, I really wish John Garrett were here today because I found a video this morning that I wanted to play for him because we talk about this all the time, particularly him. He has a hard time with the ladies. He is unhappy with the attitudes of a lot of the ladies these days. And I agree with him that there a lot of women today are not attractive to men because of the way they act, the way they dress, their expectations. They put all the expectations, it seems like, on the man and very little on themselves. And they insist on doing things that most men don't find attractive at all, but they go, damn the patriarchy, I'm going to do it anyway. And there's some simple things, like I see black guys talking about this on TikTok and Facebook, about these gigantic eyelashes that it seems like all black women are wearing now. And, you know, these guys will tape things to their eyes and go, that's how you look. This is how stupid you look. Nobody likes those giant fake eyelashes because they look like giant fake eyelashes. I don't know if they like the 7-foot-long wigs that they wear. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I personally, it's your body, it's your nose. You do whatever you want to. But I hate all the nose stuff. Like, I see it and I automatically just start thinking about, how does she blow her nose? What does she do if she's got a booger up there or something? You know, that's the way I think. But it seems like now every young woman in America has to have, you know, at a minimum, one nose piercing. A lot of them have 3 or 4. And now I think now they're beginning to catch on to the fact that not every guy thinks it's attractive.
Quick question for the men, specifically straight men.
All right.
How come a majority of straight men I know that I've interacted with hate septum piercings? What's that about? What's the vibe? Because consistently since getting my septum done, not to say all straight men, a lot of straight men hate the septum piercing. So curious. Genuinely, this is for science, not for judgment.
Yeah.
Safe space.
Well, first of all, I don't like her. I don't like her vibe at all, her attitude at all. She looks like she's a lot of trouble. High maintenance valley girl type. Anyway, the reason guys don't like it is that that's what you do to a pig. You put a ring in its nose, or a bull, not a woman. It's unattractive to men. I'm just going to be honest. It's unattractive. And then, you know, they'll put them here and here. And again, it's your body. Do whatever you want to. I'm just telling you that I think a lot of men, maybe most men, think that it's unattractive. And there may not be a reason. It's just unattractive. That's all I can say. How smart do you think you are? Do you think you're average, or do you think you're below average, or maybe above average? Where do you think you are in relation to just the general population? I'm not talking about the brainiacs or college professors or doctors or researchers or lawyers or whatever, although a lot of those people don't have any common sense. Where do you think you are? Where do you fall IQ-wise in relation to the general population? Well, there's a new poll out that shows that apparently most Americans are pretty delusional. The poll says that only 6% of Americans think their IQ is below average. Now, if you're alive and breathing and walking around in this country, you know that number is out of whack. We know that there are a much greater percentage of people walking around whose IQ is way, way, way below average. I'm going to bump 6% up to about, or should I go up to 25% or should it be higher? Because there's a lot of stupid people out there. We run into them everywhere in all walks of life, and we all just bite our lip and go on. And God bless them, it seems like the lower they are on the more they want to tell you how smart they are. But anyway, new poll asked people how they think their IQ stacks up against the average American. 6% said they're below average. 39% think that they're around average. I'm not even sure that number's on the money. But get this. Here's the really delusional part. 46% of Americans think that they're above average. And 8% who think they're way smarter than everybody else. 46% think they're above average. Now, you don't have to tell me. If you want to comment down below on this video, you're welcome to. But where do you think you fit in? I'm going to say I'm average. I may be below average. I don't know. But I'm going to go just average. The remaining 10%, if you've been keeping track there at home with your little calculator, the remaining 10% that didn't show up in the numbers I gave you, they wouldn't even venture to guess. They're saying not sure where they would stack up. All right, well, at least they're not delusional. They know that they're not sure about where they stack up.
Hola, Lin, ¿cómo?
I'm sorry. That is not a woman. That is the real chupacabra. I'm gonna have nightmares about this for the rest of my life. Vete!
If you've been watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, you know I've been talking about you got to be really careful on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, really anywhere on the web. You're being tracked anywhere you go by cookies and bots and all sorts of things. And I forgot how this happened. For some reason, a little person popped up on one of my feeds. And I forgot what it said, but anyway, got my curiosity, and I clicked on it. And ever since then, my feeds are flooded with little people trying to be sexy. It's overwhelming. Here are the latest couple that I've gotten over the past couple of days. Look at this. 3'11" who loves golfing. Well, good for you. I don't need to get a message on Facebook showing that. But I did. I got that one and I got another one. Well, this one didn't have a message with it, but there are apparently this is a big thing on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, are little people who post pictures and send them out. I don't get it. We're all trying to do our best to take care of ourselves. And yet, in spite of that, we know that about, 40% of Americans are obese, over 50% are overweight. Everybody's fighting it. And it's not entirely, our fault, your fault. I mean, a lot of it is here in America, we have access to a lot of food, and it's pretty well priced compared to the rest of the world. And we have access to tremendous amounts of processed foods loaded with sugar and carbohydrates and things that aren't very good for you. And you get hooked on them. I mean, it's just like a drug or alcohol. Is you get hooked on these foods. They put stuff in these foods that you get addicted to, whether it's the gluten, the sugar, the additives. I don't know, but you go to the grocery store, and I see people at the grocery store they're big, and on their cart they've got 3 12-packs of Coca-Cola, a 6-pack of Gatorade and a bunch of cookies, and and they're addicted to sugar. I mean, you can just see it that they have a problem with it. But the point I'm trying to make here is that even if you do have a problem with it, even if you're a big person, don't let it stop you from going for your dreams. Like this guy. This guy right here, he's my new hero. Watch him. Born in the ghetto. It's Big Elvis, baby. In the ghetto. He sounds just like Elvis. Yeah. I like the way he really has the crowd enthralled. And when it comes time for the backup singers, he goes, and they sing. He sounds just like Elvis, though, without the karate moves and the jumpsuit. But if you're overweight, don't let that stop you from going for your dreams. You can do it, no matter what it is. Well, tomorrow, John Garrett has promised to be here for Fun Time Friday for our 101st episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast. Thank you for those of you that have subscribed. If you haven't, you can do it right now. Just go on YouTube and start a YouTube account, subscribe, like the video, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops, and tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.